thing? Is this a thing that I started? Or is it a thing that someone else started? Really, what about One Direction? Zayn, 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 Zayn. Do you want me to weigh in on the celebrity pop culture? Is that a thing you want? Or is that a thing you don't want? Is that a thing you really specifically just don't want me to say? You are wired, said somebody. Or could you say that I'm frickin' zazzed? I actually say phrases like that. Wow, what an awful person. So yeah, Zayn. Find his chill. Wow. So I think this is one of those things. I think it's quite representative of a lot of kind of debates and discussions. And it says a lot about how, like, really, to have a quality opinion on anything, you need to get as much information on it as possible. You need to hear one side of the story and then the opposite side of the story. You just need to hear as many conflicting opinions as possible and then step back and try to attempt with no bias at all to decide what you think is the most logical answer. But when it comes to the internet and opinions, what happens a lot is that someone will take a subject that is really interesting, that people will want to know opinions on. Maybe it's very controversial, where there's a whole bunch of people on either side. It's very controversial, a lot of people talking about it. And because people are kind of lazy, and they're not interested in having quality opinions, all they do is see one moderately well-articulated opinion. And because that person has seen one moderately well-articulated opinion, that's all they believe. Because people have short attention spans. They don't really care about the issues, they just care about the drama and the excitement of the debate most of the time. They just want to take sides, they just want to vent their emotions by having an internet fight about something. So people aren't interested in thinking about something like that. That's the problem with the internet, is obviously you can't ever have a quality conversation or debate about anything. That's why I hate people talking about things that deserve, like, good debates. Like, I don't think that becoming YouTube is enough. I feel like it doesn't go far enough with the conversations. You know, that's what I said before to Ben. It's that it's incredible becoming YouTube, but I don't feel like it brings up these immense topics, and it does a lot of discussion, but it doesn't even, I feel like it doesn't even go far enough, and then it always ends in Ben Cook's personal conclusion on it, which is fine. That's what an opinion is. He's a great guy. But on Twitter, you know, it's like one person says something, it's pretty good, everyone just retweets it, and it's almost like that's it. It ends the conversation. What's awful about Tumblr is one person can make a moderately well-articulated opinion, and it gets reblogged by a bunch of people, and it's just on loads of dashboards, and there's no discussion. It's just one perspective, just reinforced with a huge amount of notes. And Zayn kind of fell into that trap. See how I fucking came back to that after an hour? It's like... So the situation was an awful meme account that just, like, steals content and is just like, shit, there's a million of them, you know. So it was like, at Relatable Funny or something. Was just, they tweeted a picture that was like, Taylor Swift complains that she wants people to buy her music and doesn't want to give her music away for free. Whereas Miley Cyrus says that she doesn't care about people paying for her music, that she's got her house and her dogs and she's happy with the amount of money that she has, and that's fine. And the thing is, that is on its own, is a perfect example of what seems like a really good point. You know what I mean? It seems like that's an interesting perspective. But the thing is, people will see that, and they don't even, because people are freaking lazy, people don't care about their opinions, like, humanity is just awful. They'll just see that and they'll be like, oh yeah, I'm not going to question that, I'm just going to circle jerk against Taylor Swift now forever, because I heard this, like, one perspective on this thing. And, you see, what Taylor Swift was actually trying to do with that, I mean, I'm sure Taylor doesn't. We can all speculate on whether or not Taylor personally cares for her own bank account, whether she wants people to buy her music. But she was just saying that things like Spotify that don't pay artists for making their music are strangling small musicians and all the people in the music industry that aren't at the top. You know what I mean? It's like the people the people right at the top, the celebrity artists have millions of dollars, but then all the people that worked on their album don't. They're just on a salary by the, you know, by the music labels. And it's these people that, when the music industry isn't making any money anymore, they're the people that suffer. And I think what Taylor was standing for was, you know, all these other people, you know, these young bands that want to survive. You know, the next Taylor Swift might never become Taylor Swift because these days, whatever. And, you know, I'm not expressing my opinion on that because I don't know enough about it and I don't care that much. It's not my problem. But Calvin Harris tweeted back at Zayn quite rightly, saying like, oh, so, you know, it's the problem with that stupid meme that was posted, like, Taylor says this, whereas Miley's good for saying this, is like, you know, it's all well and good that people with billions of dollars don't care about people buying their music because they've already got it, you know what I mean? And it's like, well, you've got yours, well, therefore forget it. You know, it's not about, hey, I've got mine, so forget everyone else's problems. You know, it's about, you know, being considerate of all the other people. So I think Calvin Harris tweeted Zayn back saying that, and then Zayn, I don't know, like, you know, I'm scared of opinions or saying bad things about anybody, but just like, Zayn didn't look great, you know what I mean? Like, Calvin seemed quite polite, and like he was, I mean, obviously he was defending his bae and making a good point, you know, calmly having a debate. That's what Calvin was trying to do. He was like, I see a flaw in your logic, here's another thing. And then Zayn got like mad that it was a fight, and it was like, oh, dude. And then Louis Tomlinson, like, I can't remember, like, favorited Calvin Harris's tweet or something, which, like, whatever. Know what I mean? Know what I mean? Whatever. You know what I mean? So, like, the thing is, the reason why you don't see me just jumping on every single debate bandwagon that happens on the internet is because you can't have a good conversation about anything on Twitter. It's just a tennis match of shit opinions that fit into 140 characters. And it doesn't mean that anyone's right. It doesn't mean that anyone's clever or anything. It's just awful. And I look at these things and I'm just shaking my head, because most of the time what infuriates me is people who I agree with are hurting their own arguments, because like the way that they're trying to fight their side of the like opinion battle is like in a really dumb way, like they lose their temper or something. And I just, you know, like, things deserve like really. It's like when I make a video about the internet is mean, when I said I spent like 30 hours deciding what I wanted to talk about, that's because, like, if I was going to come out and say, like, this is why I think people cyberbully other people, and this is what I think people should do about it, I'm not saying I'm right, but that what I presented in my YouTube video, The Internet Was Mean, was the best opinion I was capable of expressing. You know what I mean? It's like I really tried as hard as I could to put the best thing out there. And sometimes, you know, the cleverest and most well-educated you can be isn't good enough. And you just have to respect that people try. But like, yeah, Twitter, you can't have a debate on Twitter. You can't have a debate on Tumblr. You can't have a debate on a YouTube video series. I don't think you can have a debate on Question Time. When I watch shows like when politicians go on Question Time and talk about the future of the country, and I'll talk about these important things, they're like, okay, we have to stop talking about this now as we've run out of time. I'm like, these are the people that are going to run our entire country, and they got into a really good debate about this, and then they just had to stop and talk about something else because they ran out of time because the TV show is only an hour long. I'm like, when the leading BBC debate show isn't good enough for having, you know, good conversations about important topics, then what are you going to do? Anyway, what do you think about e-online? See, I'm out of the loop just because, like, I don't sit on the internet because things make me really upset very easily, just because I get annoyed at people that have bad opinions. There's way too much bad news out there in the world. And just for my own mental health, cheeky me, did you see that there? Out of the loop. So I mean, like, breaking news, people that have never watched a YouTube video don't understand YouTube. I mean, like, is there any point in getting mad about something that's just, like, so stupid? Like, I don't know. I mean, obviously we should be mad and disappointed, but like, it's not even a surprise. Like, the reason that I don't really care about the e-online thing is it's not even a surprise. It's like, are you surprised? It's like, obviously they're gonna say something dumb like that. I mean, they might not have. They might have been good. They might have actually educated themselves. They might have actually tried to think before they wrote a really like dumb opinion about whatever. But I'm not surprised. And it's just like, I read a lot of news. I'm very aware of all the happenings in the world. Like, I know there's so many awful things happening everywhere that it's often very hard for me to care about trivial things. You know what I mean? It's like, at the end of the day, you know, if I'm watching the actual news and seeing what's like happening on the news, and then I go on Twitter and what everyone's talking about is an e-online, it's like, I don't care that. It's like, I'm like, you know, whatever. Do you hate Minions as much as the rest of Tumblr? I haven't watched Despicable Me or Minions. And as I said in my last live show, I think it's much like the Muppets. The reason Minions are disgusting is because they've completely taken over the entire planet with literally the most relentless promo campaign of all time, where they're part of they've just become part of every aspect of society. But then when something's like that and it becomes something that people get really angry about, it kind of becomes funny. So even though I don't really care about Minions, I find jokes about Minions funny because it's something that a lot of people get very emotional about. You know what I mean? Are you a feminist? Said Sophia. Absolutely. If, you know, depending on whether you're going by the stupid definition of people that don't understand it or the actual one. Like, are you a feminist? No? What does that mean? Feminists suck. It's happening right now. I'm not even getting into this. Wow. Okay. Can I have a cool... Not now. Jesus. Yeah, let's start that now. No. Will Dan ever make a huge video about how in the last 2 years, as a result of things like Gamergate and other things, feminism has gone from being a perfectly understood concept to almost being this joke that people circle jerk against out of a place of complete misunderstanding and ignorance about what it is and why it's important. Just like when jokes about things that are funny and go too far end up, you know, going into, you know, take an ignorant person and take an important issue, then take jokes about the important issue, and then put, you know, you have someone who has the knowledge about the important issue and the jokes and gets them both, and then you have someone that doesn't understand the important issue and then just hear the jokes, and then it's kind of like their entire perception of it is just the jokes, and how honestly, like, terrifying and dangerous that is, and it just makes me panic about the future of humanity. So I'm gonna go, and yeah, ciao dudes, thank you for joining me.